Back to Blackoutpod, Bitches, Betters, Tales from Rock Bottom, the Quarantine Diaries. I'm here today again with a very special guest, somebody who I have never met in person, just like my guest yesterday. Please welcome Logan Guntzelman. Thank you so much for being in my beautiful living room.
It looks nice. I mean, I can just kind of see your knee, but the rest looks pretty good.
Yeah, it was weird for a minute because like I would just have people turned like this, and then they were like, "I don't like that I can only see your fucking foot." And it felt like porn.
It seems like it would be very exciting for a specific number of people.
Yeah, very specific group.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. I mean, I guess a listener is a listener, you know?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
If they will, I'll show my feet. I don't give a shit.
Really? Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Have you done it before?
Do you want to see my... No, I mean, no, but like, I'll do it.
Oh, my God. Wow. We're getting the exclusive.
Truly, if someone wants to Venmo me, they're not attractive feet, but I'll send pics.
You'll do it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like I know so many girls who get those requests. Like, they hit like 5,000 followers, and then suddenly somebody's like, let me see your feet, bitch.
Yeah. Well, someone just once sent me $700 for pics, and that was the price they quoted, but they were not specific. So I said, sure. Because in my head, I was like, you didn't say they had to be nude.
Yeah.
You didn't say anything. I said, you pay me up front, I'll send you pics. And he was like, you want me to pay all the money up front? I was like, I'm pretty sure that's how this works.
Yes.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect half. And then I send it, and like, I don't trust that you would make good on the other half.
Yeah.
But he never responded. I guess he figured out I'm not going to send him any naked pictures.
Ah, fuck. Well, so you didn't get any money out of it?
No, I didn't.
Guess the offer, I feel like the offer is still that's an accolade.
Yeah, I mean...
In this day and age, I feel like that means you've reached a point in your career.
Yeah,
you know?
I honestly, I do prefer, like, if people hit me up, like, for something sexual, I like it when they're straightforward about it, because sometimes I'll get messages, and it's not like people are going nuts in my DMs, but it'll be like, hey, I saw your comedy.
Sure.
You're very funny. Also, I noticed that I like your butt a lot. And I'm like, why would you hide that at the end? Like, I thought you were just being a nice... And I would prefer if... And this isn't... No one actually do this. But if all you really want is to say something gross, just say it. Don't hide it.
No, it's like homeless people when they lie to you. You know?
Yeah. When
a homeless person is like... I have a bit that I'm running about that where like a homeless person will ask you for $2 for gas. And it's like, when's gas been $2? When is... You're fucking lying to me.
Or like, there's one lady who always asks me for 50 cents for the bus. She just needs one bus ride. And I've given her money, and like I've tried to give her snacks, and she said no. And I feel bad, but I'm like, we're past this now. Like, we both know it's not the bus.
You know me, I know you. The bus is code for heroin.
Yeah, and also 50 cents, what is that going to,
I guess it gets, how much is the bus?
I think it's $2.75.
Oh, so last time, way off.
Yeah, I mean, I would get it if she's like trying to complete enough for a single bus ride.
Yeah.
But also I have no idea. A lot of the times when I've taken the bus in multiple cities, once I get on, there are no rules. They don't even make you pay. They just let you get on.
Yeah.
So
bus drivers are not known for being joyous. So I'm assuming that they don't really enforce the rules either.
No.
Why would you?
Yeah.
So tell me how you're staying, how you doing in these trying times?
You're
working, right?
I was working. I write on a little a fun show on Sci-Fi, which whenever I tell people, they're like, they do comedy, and we're like, yes. But just this past Friday, where everything is going dark on hiatus until, in theory, I think this shelter-in-place thing ends April 19th.
Yeah.
So that's probably the guesstimate of when we'll come back. I don't know if we'll do it online. We were doing Google Hangouts, which was pretty fun because one of the writers, every time we'd meet up for a big Google meeting, he would be like in a hammock drinking wine, smoking weed. And everyone was like, "You're still at work." And he was like, "Nah, not
Fuck
really."
you. No, I'm not.
Yeah.
It's not even hammock weather. He was just flexing.
Yeah, no, exactly. He probably had to drag the hammock indoors to do it. I don't know.
What an asshole. Still cool.
Very,
I still
yeah, very
respect him.
funny.
Yeah.
Andy Woodhull. I don't know. Check him out. I don't know what I'm saying.
I got not a lot of listeners, but I got a lot of listeners for what I do, you know? They'll check him out. One person will Google him and then be like, never mind.
I always feel bad because I'm like, peep that guy or whatever. And I'm like,
guy, and then never mind.
I don't know what I'm saying. But yeah, we only had 1 week left of the job. So whenever we come back, we're coming back for a week. So
right now it's very weird because apparently people who are like higher up celebrities can podcast together. So like all the big, like Rogan can still have guests and like all that stuff. So I'm assuming there are still writing rooms going.
Yeah. And they're like, I'm sure online writing rooms.
Yeah.
It's just, and then also like the writing part ends and then we're actually filming episodes, and it's a fake movie review show that's on a public access channel in Modesto is the show. Wow. And and the two hosts are puppets. So that's
that's dope.
Yeah. So, and then everyone else is a real person, but they review just like, Back to the Future or Jaws but they're all like weird, just, fun sketches. Like it is truly really fun. And like everyone else who writes on it is also a comic, which is nice. Like they're not mostly writers. It's all comics. Right? Amy Silverberg and then Rachel Mack. And then
I don't know Rachel personally, but I've seen her go up at the store and she's fucking
hilarious. And then Tom Takar, who's out of New York but also from the Midwest, and then Andy, like I said. But so it's all just like a nice fun, it's a fun group.
Yeah, it sounds
fun
dope.
Hang.
Sounds like a good little gig.
Yeah, but the added thing is we're writing bits about movies that are new releases. And one after another, new releases are changing their release date.
Yeah.
So we were like, we got to get rid of that and do a new thing.
They're going to be airing them online, apparently. I got a message today that was saying they're going to be airing still in box office movies online.
Yeah, I saw a preview for that movie, The Hunt, where people hunt people, I guess. And it was like, The Hunt comes to you. And I was like, I don't want it to.
This is not the time.
Yeah,
this is a bad time for this. All I keep hearing in my head, and I think I've mentioned this before, is did you see 28 Days Later?
I haven't.
Oh man, there's a part where the woman goes, the blood. There's something in the blood, and that just keeps echoing in my head. That one day there's going to be zombies, just coughing zombies.
I mean, honestly, probably. Also, I talked to my parents. My parents live in Ohio. Mm-hmm. I grew up here, but they moved to my dad's hometown last year. It's like a fun, I don't know, golden years thing. Like it's a weird move. Yeah, everyone's like, why did your parents move to Ohio?
It's so weird that they retire like that.
Yeah.
Some of them get RVs and shit.
Yeah, they drove all their stuff out, but I was talking to my parents, like telling them to be careful. And my dad was like, well, since you're not working, why don't you go to our storage facility in North Hollywood, get all our stuff out, rent a truck, and drive it out to Ohio? And I was like, no. I'm not going to do that right now. And he's like, God. We'll pay you. I was like, no.
My favorite thing is that there are still people hanging out with each other and they're like, quarantine party. And it's like, that's not, you're defeating the purpose.
That's not, I feel like I have to say, like, because I'm at the beginning of the pandemic, me and my boyfriend broke up and we lived together.
Oh, my God.
I have been having to stay on couches, but like for extended periods of times. But so then I feel bad because if I put anything on the internet and it shows that I'm with different people, I'm worried people are like, Logan's just driving around partying. And I'm like, no, please understand. I'm not. This is not on purpose.
No, I've seen people like literally taking shots together, like went to so-and-so's apartment, and it's like, you're not doing it right. You're doing this the wrong way.
We were taking shots, but I had also been here all weekend, all week. And I was just like, I don't want to be one of those people that ends up posting like text on Instagram and all black being like, listen, let me explain something.
Yeah. It's so funny that it's become like a virtue signaling thing. Like where people are like, oh, you're not inside? Oh,
Yeah,
really? Well, guess
I know.
what? People are dying. And it's like, I'm so sorry. I just was taking out the garbage and I saw a
Yeah.
friend. That's all.
And it's also like I did extensive Googling. It says walks and even runs are good for you in this
Yeah.
trying time as
Yes.
long as you stay 6 feet away. But then every time I'll go outside, I'm like, someone's going to get mad.
Yeah.
Someone's going to
Yeah.
get mad at me.
I've been waking up
I
at
don't know.
5. So, do you know Madison Hedgecock?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He posted a thing of Redondo Beach and it was packed. And he's like, come visit Redondo Beach. And I've been waking up at 5 a.m. every morning to go run stairs in Silver Lake when nobody else is awake, just so I can stay away from people. And I need exercise, and I've been doing it so I can be like, and then I've been to the store, and I'm wearing gloves, and I ordered a mask, and I'm doing it. And then,
I mean, I
yeah.
feel like this is all just a subtle way for you to let everyone know that you work out and that you care about
It's
people.
not.
But I am,
No,
I
no, no,
am
no.
still very impressed.
What I'm saying is, I feel like people, like I'm eating the shit sandwich. Everybody's got to eat the shit sandwich. You know what I mean? You can't
Yeah.
go to the fucking beach and be like,
No.
we're gonna skateboard together. Like it just is. Not, yeah, it's fucking weird. It's weird
Yeah,
times.
or the people who are like booking tickets places.
Yeah, I haven't seen that personally.
I haven't seen anyone that it seems like everyone I know for the most part is taking it pretty seriously.
Yeah, me too.
I think because it's sort of the mindset of like the sooner you do it, the sooner it will be over, which is a positive outlook. But in my mind, I'm like, I think it's going to be a while. I think
realistically, people will be able to go back to work in certain places in a month. I don't think anything else is going to be normal.
No, I mean, the one nice thing for me, at least, is when they were like, they're going to have to keep first they banned gatherings 250 or greater. And then like, they're like, when things will come back, it'll be really slowly, like no more than 50, if that. And I was like, well, that will not affect the audiences of the comedy shows I do at all.
Absolutely not. Yeah, or like open mics. Like who the fuck? Yeah. Oh my god. Like but yeah, I bet in a month it'll be like, oh, the numbers are going down, and then people will hear that, and then they'll be like, we're gonna go outside, and then you know what I mean. But I hope the summer will fucking make it a little bit better.
I know that's.
Let's see. Yeah. You said when we first talked and I invited you onto the podcast, you had said, and I need to get back to the crux of this podcast.
Oh, yes. It's blacking out stories.
More or less. You said, I have for sure made some mistakes. I don't know if that was a compliment or an insult for Chappelle to say that he thought of me for this. Where do you want to begin with that?
Well,
it doesn't have to specifically be drugs or alcohol. It's kind of gone in the direction of like, if you have any stories that stick out that kind of define you as a person. I've gone with like embarrassing stuff or rock bottoms, things like that. So we can take it in whatever direction you want to.
I mean, I do think I did. I've gone to the hospital for drinking. Also, the weird thing is the only times I've ever had too much, for the most part, has been with my family. So they all think that I have a problem.
Oh, shit.
And I keep expressing to them, I'm like, it was my earlier 20s and I felt uncomfortable just being around family.
Yeah.
And so it was 3 or 4 times. But the one time I went to the hospital in college, and my parents got a bill for it. And that was like the beginning of them being like, is this a serious issue?
Fuck.
But that was the night I learned that if you drink a whole bottle of wine and then smoke weed and then do a shot of vodka, it's too much. That's too much. And my drunk roommates called 911, even though, because they were trying to get me to throw up. Apparently they were all putting their fingers down my throat, which is very sweet in retrospect. That was kind of them. But and they couldn't get me to wake up, but they also were all very, very fucked up.
Yeah.
So what I didn't know is when they called the hospital, they were worried for no reason that someone at the hospital would steal my jewelry. Everything was from Forever 21 and cost $5. I don't know.
Shit.
But so they removed all of my earrings and whatever bracelet or ring, I don't know. They took all that off. Then they also, to make it easier to access me while they were waiting for the ambulance, put my mattress on the floor.
Oh.
So I don't know. But so I also didn't have my ID. I'd lost every form of identification. So I was taken to the
Oh,
hospital with
fuck.
no identification.
You had lost it or it just wasn't around?
I think I'm one of those people where I always have my passport with me
Okay.
because I always lose my ID. Not even
Oh,
like
yeah.
drinking
Just
wise,
in general.
just in general. I'm just kind of a little bit of
You have early
messy.
onset fucking
Yeah, dementia.
Alzheimer's disease.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
very sad, but it's fine.
It's all the shitty apartments I've lived in. They have asbestos. I'm sure it's affecting
Right.
my
Oh, it's
memory.
so weird to think about that. How much shit has fucked up our brains. It's
Yeah. Oh, I
probably a
mean,
lot.
but that's also why, like, because I grew up. I've talked about this in sets. I feel like I have to say that, so I'm not like trying to hide
Yeah.
some sort of joke.
Like tried
But
to run a
so
bit, yeah.
yeah, I grew up right next to a nuclear testing facility, and they sent out letters that said, "Don't drink the tap water."
Oh my
and
god.
and my parents just never showed me those letters.
Is that real?
So yeah, so I drank the tap
Oh
water
my
my whole
god.
life, and I'm just like, I'm not gonna wash fruit. I'm already screwed. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well,
I'm
it's
just gonna.
yeah. I always
Um,
have that. Did you ever hear that George Carlin joke where he's like, if you drop something on the ground, pick it up and eat it because it'll make you build antibodies?
no, but they did. They did a study in like the early 1900s, and kids who grew up in like the really crowded Lower East Side of Manhattan, where there's way more germs,
Yeah.
were way less susceptible to like I forget what disease was like what was their coronavirus at the time, but like those
Everything.
kids,
They had
yeah,
everything. They had fucking measles and mumps and the
I
plagues
know.
and
I was reading last night
botulism.
like all the different plagues throughout history and what was the best way, like how they finally got rid of them,
Yeah.
like throughout time. And like the first two, they were like pretty much everyone died, and then the people that were left just were immune, and then they were
Yeah.
just like, all
How
right.
cool would that be to be immune to something that killed everybody? Like
I mean,
it would be sad, but also you'd be like, I am a god.
I'm part of me. This is me knocking on wood because I'm guessing as soon as I said like I I don't know. I feel like I either have already had it and didn't know. Do you know what I feel like I'm
I
one of
know
those where
exactly what
like
you mean. Yeah, I feel the same. Like a month before everything happened, uh,
mhm.
I had. But here, tell yours, and then I'll tell mine.
Well, no, just like I did feel a month ago kind of sick,
Hmm.
but it wasn't like a crazy sick, but it felt kind of like a sinus pressure in my face, and I was exercising one time, and I was like, wow, it's harder to breathe than normal, and that was like
Yeah,
the most that I was aware of. But I don't know. I mean, it's not like I'm going to go. I don't know if even if they had tests, if the test would be like, have you had it before, or
yeah.
just do you have it now?
No, it's funny you say that because I feel like first of all you're not the only one who I've heard say that, but then also, um, my girlfriend works at a jeweler, and
Hmm.
she had people. She works with a bunch of people, and then we both got sick, and then when
Hmm.
I got sick, same thing. I had a lot of sinus pressure, and I have like a history with like sinus stuff. And so I was
Hmm.
like, oh, this is just sinus shit. And same thing, I couldn't work out for a couple of days. But then when I was like sleeping, I would feel myself like kind of going and just like doing weird little like gaspy breaths. And then I never get sick. Like I get sick
Yeah.
for like a day, and that put me out for like a week and a half. And then it was like continuously kind of this like it was dry, and then at the same time like I was just like I felt like I just had so much fucking congestion. It was very
I mean, that
bizarre.
sounds like because the whole thing is they assume that people have already had it, and like when they weren't doing any testing and people were coming through airports, I
Yeah.
was coming into contact with so many comics who had been traveling.
Yeah.
And like, not that I wasn't going anywhere, but like that they would come to a show and be like, I just came from the airport.
Yeah.
And as more and more stuff came out, I was like, okay,
Think about how
like,
many people were coming from China like at any given time to LA. Like there's a lot of fucking people here.
yeah.
So,
So,
it's weird. It's weird to think about, but then I think the same thing, and I felt it for a long time. Like it
yeah.
was there was a remnant of it for a minute.
Yeah. And I did feel like put out for like a week where I was just like, ugh, everything is so difficult. But I also, my thing is, I just assumed as an adult you feel shitty most of the time. That's just what it means.
Yeah, me too.
To like get
Oh, that's
older
so
is like
funny.
every day you feel bad.
Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah.
And so I can never tell them like, am I sick or is this, I just turned 30 and I'm like, is this just what it's like now?
Oh,
Like,
man.
is
Don't
this
say
what
that.
every day is going to be like?
I turned 30.
Well, I don't
I
know.
turned 30 and like I just barely turned 29 a couple months ago, and now I'm worried about turning 30 because I feel like I'm going to hit that pinnacle where I'm going to be like, well, should I eat healthy anymore or should I just fucking have pizza for breakfast? Like fucking whatever, dude.
I know. I mean, if it helps at all, I was more worried about 29 because I felt like I wasn't, sorry to say that because I know you are 29, but I was
Yeah.
like, I don't think I'm using my last year of my 20s correctly.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't like really like going out with a bang. It was kind of more of a whimper.
Yeah.
But then once I hit my 30s, and also it was nice, and I'm sure everyone's saying it to make me feel better. So many people were like, "Oh, your 30s are the best. They're great. It's where
Yeah.
you've like got stuff figured out." I mean, I don't think that they were dealing with a pandemic right at the beginning,
They also
but
have probably like 5 kids, and they're like, it's
Yeah.
the best.
yeah, they're like your 40s are where everything, and I was like, "Good, great,
Yeah,
okay.
thanks for
This
that.
is good to know."
That's a great thing.
Yeah.
It's a looming fucking air balloon over
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, but you know, we might be a traveling band across a wasteland of America by the time I'm 40. Who knows?
We might
And that could be fun.
I don't think it will be this. I think this is like a fucking drop in the bucket compared to shit that could happen, which is a horrible thing to say. But
No, I think that you're right. But what would be your, like, in the apocalypse, what would your new job have to be? Have you thought about that?
no, I haven't. And the worst part about it is I'm a whole lot of aesthetic in terms of tough guy and nothing to back it up. I have no practical skill. Zero.
But
That's
you
why
could
I
be
tell
like,
jokes.
but you could be the looks guy. Do you know what I mean? Like they're like, look how tough this guy is.
I
And
guess
they'd be
I
like,
could be, but then all they'd have to do is like fucking like spray water at me, and I'd be like, "Ee!" And they'd be like, "Fuck him, eat him." And I'd be like, "Shit." They'd be like, "Yeah, I could do a whole lot of intimidation until like some peasant was like, I made him flinch, kill him." You know what I mean? What do you think you would do?
I mean, as a girl, the obvious thing is like probably sell my body at
That's
some
fair.
point. Just have that in my back pocket.
I've never met you
Before
in
that-
person, but you don't seem of large stature. You could be like supplies. You could go steal things and run.
Yeah, I'm pretty. I've been described as squirrely, and
Agile.
I'm a trash person. Like I will eat leftovers long after their due dates. I could some sort of dumpster diving. I'm guessing.
You're gonna be just fine. How does it feel to know that?
I mean, yeah, it does feel like this apocalypse could be my time to thrive. I
Yes.
guess.
Yeah.
You know, I hope that's not the case, but if it is, I'm here for it.
They
I
could
guess,
maybe make a
you know?
movie about you. You could be the strong female lead.
Sure, I'm just I'm picturing Waterworld, but on land.
Yeah.
and I feel like that's not a good.
In Ohio, like you
Yeah.
you ended up making the pilgrimage with like your
Yeah.
dad's ottoman, and then you get
Yeah,
there,
exactly.
you get there, and they're already Corona zombies.
yeah, yeah, and they're weirdly never been healthy. I mean, you know, they're moving around, just trying to infect people. They're losing weight. I don't know.
That's fucking funny. What would you say the biggest mistake you've ever made was?
Biggest mistake ever.
I think you're the first person I've asked that question to on this podcast. It's a great fucking question, especially to ask somebody who's 30, because then they can look in retrospect in like a good way, and they can be like,
Yeah, it's tough also because there are so many times where I feel like you have to build a narrative that things that were mistakes aren't mistakes because
Sure.
they made you do X, Y, and Z or
Sure.
whatever.
But also,
But I
there's some
do-
cringy shit.
Oh yeah, but
Yeah.
also mine I feel like are really boring because I went to a fancy college. I transferred there. I feel like I have to. And I know it's very boring, but I could have stayed home and gone to a state school, and it would have cost way less money. And I don't use my degree at all, and I am often filled with guilt at the amount of money I used.
Where'd you go to school?
I went to Columbia.
Oh
in New
wow,
York.
Jesus Christ!
Yeah,
Did you?
I transferred there and I went to a community college for a semester before that.
So you
And I
went.
feel like
You're like that fucking. That's crazy. You went to an Ivy League school and you just flexed on it. You
yeah,
just
but also
nonchalantly.
I've done nothing with the degree and I'm 30 now. It really is
It's
not
weird
like
that that's the accomplishment. But you also
yeah.
you've got a lot of credits as a comic. I mean, I
Sure. I mean, they're not inviting me to speak at any events of my college. They're not like, hey, we saw that video that had the word semen in the title on YouTube. You want to come talk at a brunch?
they would have somebody speak at a brunch. That'd be
Yeah,
amazing. At an
but
equestrian brunch.
yeah, exactly. But so I I feel like it's a boring regret. I wish it was like that I don't know.
Did you have a good time in college when you were there?
Oh no, I hated college.
Really? Yeah, I
Yeah,
hated college too. You hated it
it
even when you got to Columbia?
yeah, and because I went to University of Michigan for a semester,
Oh wow.
hated it.
Okay.
Came home, went to community college, which I disliked, but it was fine. Do you know
Sure.
what I mean? I was like living at home, whatever.
It's cheap,
And I
I'm
was
sure.
yeah, and then I was convinced, that if I went to a really good school, it would like solve all my problems.
Mm-hmm.
And then, and I didn't start comedy till after college. I didn't know what I wanted to do. Like I didn't really know what I wanted to do, I guess. And then I went and I was like, yeah, I hate this, but I was like, well, I got to finish because if I don't finish now, I know I will never go.
Yeah.
Like I was just like, I'm never going to go back and get a degree.
Yeah.
And I liked my roommates, but everything else, I was just like, ugh, I hate this.
Was the process of getting into that school harder than the actual schoolwork?
Yeah, but I went to my whole thing was like I was really into school.
Mm-hmm.
I was a real big nerd, and I went to like a prep school for high school.
Oh, wow,
and that
okay.
was hard. That was harder than college.
I went to a public school, and that was harder than college. Like junior
Yeah.
year of high school was harder than any year I ever had in college.
It's like once you were in college, and then also the thing that it never really sunk in. No one gave a shit about your grades unless you were like applying to a grad school, which I already knew I probably wasn't going to do.
Yeah.
Like everyone was like, oh, I have like a 2 point something GPA. And I still like, just cause the only form of positive reinforcement I had, like I loved getting good grades.
Yeah.
But just for me, not like,
Just, yeah.
cause I had I wasn't,
It's the validation.
yeah, I wasn't like an athlete. I wasn't very coordinated. I wasn't, and so I was just like, well, I got to keep getting good grades. And now I'm like, oh my God, I could have fucked around so much.
Yeah.
And no one has ever asked to see my degree at any job that I've ever had.
I've heard that so often. Like people with great jobs, and they're like, I just lied. I just did a bunch of lying.
The jobs I had to lie the most for were like, I got a job at a frozen yogurt place and they said you needed restaurant experience. And at the time I didn't have any. Now, because I'm a comic, I've had a lot of restaurant experience.
Yeah.
But like at the time I had my friends lie and say they owned restaurants I served at just so I could get a minimum wage frozen yogurt job.
Oh my God.
And I was just like, but none of the other like more intense jobs had ever been like, could you show us proof? Like nobody else.
Yeah. God, that's so fucking weird. Yeah. I have a very close relative who now gets paid, I don't know, probably $250,000 every year, and does this job that they lied about. Just needed a job and was like, this sounds like something I could do. Doctored up a whole resume, and now they're the head of their thing, and are just.
But I feel like at a certain point, like if you got far enough and are doing well at your job, and they find out that you lied, no one cares.
No,
like
especially at that point, all the ins and outs of that industry, and you're going to be like, oh, I will kill you if you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah. No, I used to lie. I lied when I quit jobs. I quit. I was working as a production assistant on an hour drama. Like right after college, I was getting PA jobs.
Yeah.
And I realized, I was like, I don't want to do this. And I wanted to try and do like, not comedy full time, but like have enough time to do stand up.
Yeah.
And with like a PA job, you're working like 12-hour day. Like you just don't have any time. So I lied and said I got a job in New York. working on the Colbert Report as a PA.
Oh shit!
Back when that was on, because I had interned there years ago, and I thought, well, I can like pad this lie with truth because I was there.
Yeah.
And then I bought a ticket to New York, took a picture of myself there, and posted it on Facebook.